Hi, friends, and welcome. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for subscribing and liking and commenting. I do appreciate it. Today, we're going to talk about the HMS Log Book, which is a very unique journal that I created many, many years ago and started publishing about 5 years ago. This is a self awareness journal, and it's really geared for the people who kind of look at a blank journal and just go cross-eyed. And I'm one of those people. I love them, and I have a lot of blank journals in my home, and most of them are empty because for some reason I have this like stare down with the pages, and my mind kind of goes blank. So I decided as a young, very hardworking single mom that I needed to be able to track my days, what was happening in my days, all the variables that make up my day, and I needed to be able to do it quickly. And I wanted a format where I didn't have to come up with the questions; like they were already laid out for me, and all I had to do was think of the answers. This is a single mom thing, I think, or all parent thing, that time, any way to conserve time and maximize your time is really greatly appreciated. So I was working at an architecture firm at the time, and I was doing a lot of work on spreadsheets, and so I decided to create my first journal prototype on a spreadsheet because that's new. That's a program that I really knew how to use. So that was in about 2007, maybe even 2006. And I kind of ran off a couple of copies and I spread it around. And my friend said, "You've got to do this. This is so amazing. I want one of these. I can't wait until you get these published." So years later, in 2013, I decided it was time. And my child was now in high school, had a little bit more free time, and so I just kind of went to town. I'd never published anything before, and I decided I'm just going to go for it. And uh, I refinanced my house and I quit my job and I dove in head first and kind of learned along the way. And it was a really amazing process. I learned so much. And I brought one of my dreams to life. So I have to say it was a really, really wonderful and profound experience all at once. So, anyway, that's the backstory. Now, here we are at the ninth edition of the journal. And I now publish twice a year. Part one runs from January to the end of June. Part two runs from the beginning of July until the end of December. And they're always available on my website, which I'll have listed in the comments below, and bookstores around the country, boutiques, and that list is ever growing. So now let's get to it. So this is what the journal looks like. If you don't have one yet and you want to kind of follow along, go ahead and go to my website, which is HMS, sorry, www.hmslogbook.com. And if you scroll down about halfway down the page, you'll see a sample page, which I'm about to show you here. But if you want to go ahead and scroll, get over to another page and have that on a different page, go ahead and open that up, and then you can kind of see it a little bit more closely if you would like. But I just want to run through kind of what. So if you live here in Charleston, you maybe have heard of my workshops that I do for the journal, and they're basically just the introduction to the journaling process. This is a really unique and different process, which I really recommend everybody, if you can make it to a workshop, to come on down, and you get some really good ideas on how to fill out the journal if you're a first timer. If you don't live in Charleston, that is why I'm here today. I've been contacted by so many wonderful people across the country and globe that are like, I'm over here in China, and do you have any tips? And I love those messages, and so I like to write back and give my thoughts and stuff. And over the years, I've done that so often that it's time to do a channel. So here we are. And if you have your journal, open that up. If you've made it to the website and you see the sample page, go ahead and zoom in on that. And we'll just go ahead and talk about the foundation and the fundamentals of the journal. So um, this is the sample page, and I'll kind of put this up. See, yeah, okay, I think that works. Um, the first thing that you see when you open up the journal to the page is that you're looking at across the top the element, which right now is fire because we're in the sign of Leo on this day. And I believe this was last year. Oh, this was 2017. So the element of the day, the constellation of the day, and the season tree at the top. That's the top row. So there's some astrology mixed in with the journal, and I like to include that. You don't really have to know a whole lot about astrology to be able to get some wonderful benefit from just having some awareness of where we are in the astrological cycle. So we'll start in the center. So here we are in the middle of August, and this is Leo. And so the constellation Leo is there. And then right here is the glyph. That is the sign of Leo. And when you take that in combination with the fire sign, that lets us know that we're in a time frame that tends to be fiery. And this is information. You don't have to be a Leo to be feeling this. So this is information that affects the herd, everyone. Um, when we're in the 28 to 31 days that make up each astrological sign, we're all sort of under the influence of that energy. So the fire signs, there are 4 of them a year, and there's a really wonderful breakdown about this in the introduction to the journal. But I'll just take this one for now. So the fire signs, this is a very playful time. This is a time of high creativity. This is when we are maybe tend to be a little bit more passionate. The fire equals passion and excitement and high energy, or maybe higher energy. Um, and so those are just a couple of the adjectives that we would link with the fire sign. So this helps us know how to navigate throughout the day. So if we're feeling really expansive and maybe a little fiery, it's helpful to know that because that helps us make um, good decisions in the workplace, with the family, with the in-laws, on the road while we're in traffic. It's good to know, okay, so maybe drivers will be a little bit more fiery this month because we're in a fire sign. So I know you get the point. Um, we've also got a water sign, an air sign, and an earth sign. Water is a more emotional, fluid time. Earth sign, when we're in the earth sign, that's when we're feeling more grounded and maybe a little bit more inclined to think about the material aspects of life. Um, Air sign is airy. It's when we're in more of a mental, maybe a stronger mental capacity, um, and more breezy, and maybe a little bit more like, oh, I don't know, maybe a little bit tougher to make a decision during an air sign, but definitely a more mental, up in the head space time of the year. All right, so that's just a quick rundown about the elements. the tree of life that's right down here. That is up there to represent the seasons. That's the season tree. And while most of us probably know at any given time what season we're in, um, I included that at the top just to give us a daily reminder of the broad, sweeping cycles of Mother Nature. So it helps to remind us where we are in the grand scheme of things. It's like zooming or pulling back and looking at the bigger picture. And understanding that when we're in the summertime, yeah, we're yielding a lot. The yields are high. But when we're in the wintertime, so days on end, especially if you're in a colder climate and you really just want to hibernate every day, that season tree will help you remember, yes, we're in winter. Of course you want to hibernate. That's what we do in wintertime. So just reminders about where we are and that we are truly deeply affected by Mother Earth and the seasons that are happening. So, okay. Oh, and by the way, y'all, I love your questions and I love your comments. So if there's anything here that doesn't make sense or you would like clarification on, please go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll get back to you on it. The next big thing that you notice beyond the date here is that the moon is right here front and center. So, and I think this day, yeah, that's a solar eclipse. So that's telling us that not only is it a new moon, because the moon back here is all blacked in, the dark moon, but also on that day, August 21st, 2017, was a solar eclipse. So that was a really big day here in the States, and at other spots around the world, because we all witnessed that amazing solar eclipse. But anyway, the point here is so that every day we can see where the moon is, and that will help us kind of navigate the water. So I think by now we're all pretty much aware of the fact that a full moon tends to be a little bit more chaotic. The energy coming in can be intense. It can feel more pressurized. It's a pressure cooker. Whenever I talk about the full moon, it reminds me of a quote by Hippocrates, who is considered the father of Western medicine. He was a Greek physician. I believe he lived on Crete, actually. Um, he was a physician, a surgeon, very, very, very interested in astrology. And while most Western doctors pledge their allegiance to doing good by reciting the Hippocratic Oath. And everybody knows about Hippocrates in the medical field, but probably a lesser known quote that not many physicians would know is he says that a physician that does not understand astrology doesn't deserve to call himself a physician, in other words. And further study on Hippocrates, and you'll learn that he would not perform an elective surgery during the full moon because the body was under so much pressure, is under so much pressure. The bleeding out was a real concern. So, emergencies are emergencies, of course. And if it could be put off until after the full moon, after that pressure and swelling is over with, he would prefer to do it that way. So coincidentally, a new moon would be the best time to schedule a surgery because our body is not under so much pressure. Okay, so that was a long sidebar, but anyway, you get the point. The father of Western medicine thinks that it's really important to understand where we are in the moon and lunar phases. So that's why I like to have the moon phase on front and center of each page of the journal. And that's big information there, in my opinion. Just really good to know where we are in the lunar phase. Okay, so Lots of people ask, and there's obviously a lot more going on here, but I'm going to just sidebar for another quick minute. Lots of people ask, how do you fill out the journal? What do you feel is the best way to do this? So, my recommendation, and this is just a recommendation, it really depends on what serves you the best and your personal schedule. There's no wrong way to do this. But what I like to recommend is that you fill out the intention box and the gratitude box in the at the beginning of the day. So if you can give yourself a couple of minutes before maybe the kids wake up, before you have to fly out the door, before it's time to do your chores, right? Um, Give yourself as much time as you can. I really recommend taking some time with this, but it isn't necessary. If you've only got 5 minutes in the morning, I get it. I remember those days vividly. 5 minutes will do it. So fill out your intention box, and that can be 1 to 3 separate intentions um, that you want to focus on for the day. So, one good one would be like, I intend to practice non judgment all day. Write that into your journal. Um, this gets this kind of primes the pump, right? This gets your brain focused on something that you want to see take place or happen or manifest into your world. So again, there's no wrong way to do intentions. I just strongly recommend that you begin with I am. Those are the big powerhouse words in our vocabulary. And whatever you choose to follow your I am, make it affirmative and only focus on that you wish to see. So we don't want to say, I don't want to see Sally today. That is not a productive intention. We only want to focus on what we want to see. So I want to see more wealth and prosperity in my world. I am joyfully receiving prosperity and abundance in my life. That would be a way to distill that concept to an I am statement that would actually serve you. Okay, so if you have any questions about the intention setting practice, if you have a journal, I really recommend going in and reading the intention section and then also the new moon intention section. There's a lot of wonderful information there that will help you get on your path to crafting a daily intention that's really, really powerful and a really wonderful way to pull what you want to see more of in your life into your world. Okay, so once you've filled out your intention box, then scoot on over here to the gratitude box and fill this up with as many things as you can possibly manage to fit in there. Um, many people who have used the journal over the years and have come to my workshops have told me that this is a transformational practice alone. Just filling out these two boxes in the morning. And the reason why most often is because it's like you're tuning your radio dial to the frequency of gratitude and all the things that you want to see in your world. And when we start our day on with our radio tune to that dial, miracles begin to happen. Your reality will shift because what we dwell on is what we see more of. Where the mind dwells, reality swells. It's the law of attraction. And if you aren't familiar with it, I recommend doing some research. It's a really powerful way to use all the innate powers that we actually have. We just really don't. Sometimes we're not aware that we have these powers and that this is a universe where we can call in the things that we want at any time. And so the more we are focused on the things that we're grateful for, so when we're in a state of gratitude, we're in the state of abundance and focusing on the things that we want to see more of in our lives. This is how we bring forth what we want. We are focused on the affirmative, not what we're frustrated about or what we don't like, and It's really, it's one of the simplest practices that will have the most transformational effect in your life. And you also can't overdo it. So as you're going throughout your day, if you're getting frustrated, you find yourself in an emotional tailspin, think back on the things that you wrote here. So shifting your focus back to these things can really keep you at a higher vibration instead of like spiraling down into a low vibrational state of mind. I love it, and I highly recommend doing this as much as possible. You can't overdo it. Okay, so then at this point, go about your day. You filled out those two boxes, and it's time to go get your day started and make the magic happen, right? So, Tulsi rose tea, by the way, mwah, so amazing. All right. Now, once you get back home and you're ready to spend a little bit more time with your journal, put the kids to bed, give the dog a bone, all of these things after you've done all your chores and you're ready to like call it a night. Climb into bed, maybe get a cup of tea, light a candle. Give yourself the luxury of a ritual where you focus on you. This is one of the huge benefits of using the journal is that anytime we put the phone down, close up the laptop, turn the television off if you have a television, um, and open up your journal, you are telling your higher self and the universe, hey, I matter. I'm important. I'm so important that I'm going to sit here and focus on me and talk about me and think about all the things that I want and need and require and love um, for a half an hour. So when you set this intention, you can do this every night and get into this habit and this ritual. Magical things begin to happen. We live in a world of constant distraction. We all know this, and lots of these distractions really do require our attention. And there's nothing we can do about that. The important thing is that we balance that necessity with another very real necessity that is oftentimes very easy to neglect and ignore, and that is ourself and our own needs. What do we need? This is where the HMS Log Book is a super helpful, powerful way to come back to center, hone in on yourself, and really give yourself the dignity of your attention, what you pay attention to. We pay attention to so many things, and um, and we must. This is the one thing that goes out the window so easily, so quickly, especially like new moms, moms of multiple children, or any kind of parent, especially single parents. You know, we are needed, really, really needed. And we easily forget about how much we need to focus on our own self, our own needs, our own body, mind, and spirit. So, this is where the log book comes in and really makes this super helpful, quick, organized, easy. So, you don't have to labor over what questions do I need to answer. All here for you. Okay, so here we are, cozied up in the bed on the sofa, coming back to the journal. And this is where we fill in all of the rest of the blanks. Okay. So, oh yeah, we're going to start up here. So, how much are we meditating? How many minutes are we meditating? Um, what is our mood? What was the weather like today? Fill those boxes out. If you are a visually stimulated person, I encourage you to use color. I encourage you to use images, sunshines, clouds. This will help you as you go back and look through the pages of your journal. It'll help you, because this is a snapshot of your day, right? So the more imagery you use as you're going back to look, okay, what happened last week? I was doing so great, or what, what's going on, or what was happening on such and such a day. If you've got imagery here, it will help you analyze your days a lot quicker, right? So anyway, fill out those boxes: mood, weather, meditation. Um, Back to your morning part of the practice. I do hope you have a few seconds to read the inspirational quote here. Those um, those are some really wonderful people, motivational speakers, just lovely, lovely, awakened folks that have some excellent things to say. And the inspirational quote will also help you throughout your day and give you inspiration, pump you up, right? Okay, so once we get those done, so meditation, weather, mood, come down here, fill out how many hours of sleep you had last night. You can also fill that out in the morning, that won't take too long. Um, your cycle. So this is right in line with the moon so that you can get women, so that you can get a really quick download as to the relationship between your lunar cycle and your moon cycle, your menstrual cycle, right? Lots of really wonderful conclusions can be drawn from this correlation, right? And I won't go too far into that because there's a lot written out there. Lots of people are talking about this. Ask your doctor, but do some research on that and discover what would be best for you. If you're not a female, or you're not menstruating, or you are post-menstrual, I recommend that you make this box whatever. This is kind of like the wild card box for you, so it can be whatever you want. My mother's friends, they all use this box to keep track of the amount of creativity that they have expressed for the day, which I love. I think that is such a powerful and wonderful thing to be aware of. How many brush strokes did I get in today? How many bars did I sing? How many minutes did I practice the piano? Or whatever your creative outlet might be, it's really good to be aware of how much you're creating, because I bet and guarantee that if you do choose to track your creativity here, it will probably be right in line with your mood, or there will be a really powerful correlation to witness there. And if that isn't your thing either, really whatever you want. This make this journal work for you. Anything can happen here. There is no rigidity to this journal whatsoever, unless that is your thing. Then roll with it, right? Okay. The next row is throne. This is the way I like to describe a bowel movement, because throne just sounds so much more pleasant, does it not? Um, that's a really important thing to track. Healthcare practitioners will tell you that your health begins in your gut. That is something that I firmly believe and have witnessed and experienced. So, knowing how many times you are sitting upon the throne in a day, in a week, is really important. And let's just not even kid ourselves. It is really important. I know that that is, a lot of people have issue with that in this country, especially because the American diet is typically not so great. And so all kinds of health issues can arise from improper or an unwilling elimination. So we definitely want to get that under control. Lots to be read about that in the health, in the alternative health realm. So I encourage you to do some research there if that's something that you might have an issue with. Okay, so you always want to have a one there. Um, and if you don't have a one there, then you know you have an issue. So look into it. Do yourself a favor. All right. Obstacles is your next box. So that is just like giving a nod to what What is bugging you today? Um, the boss, the leak in the roof, the coworker that won't stop talking. It's a good idea to identify what it is that's bugging you, you know? And sometimes just writing it down will help us formulate a solution more quickly because it's the awareness. This journal is all about awareness, self-awareness, what's going on in your mind, Um, and when you ask yourself that question every day, what are my perceived obstacles? I guarantee you will learn things about yourself that you were not maybe consciously aware of. And this can only lead to good things. Um, Next over here is indulgences. Okay. So your indulgences are anything that you feel might not be the best thing for you to be partaking in every single day or once a week or whatever. Um, and you just write those things in there, right? You want this to be a private situation. Your journal is your journal. And it's important to be honest and to feel free to really give yourself the dignity of, being honest. What am I doing to my avatar here? And how is that affecting me? In a separate video, I will do the captain's code, which is on, I believe, page 11 in the journal. Um, and a little side note about that. When I first started creating the journal, I realized that for people who tend to be self-critical or grew up with a lot of criticism in their world, this could be a black hole of criticism, and nobody has time for that, right? So it occurred to me that I needed to build in some way to address guilt and shame and criticism. And so I came up with a captain's code. I did some research about what it was like to get on a ship, back in the day when like a galleon, think like a couple of 100 years ago. Everyone who boards a ship has to agree to the captain's code, and that basically says the captain's like, this is how we do things and this is how we don't do things. And if you're not down with that, you got to get off the boat. You can't sail with us. These are the rules, right? So the captain's code for the HMS Log Book is no guilties, no shamesies. There will be no self-criticism, none whatsoever. It's just simply not allowed. If that's your thing and you need to do that, go do it somewhere else. But while we get really vulnerable and really look at ourselves, there's no place for that here. So I ask everyone before you start the journal that you read the captain's code and you sign your name, your pledge of allegiance to the code. And that way, this is a much more enjoyable process. And it's also a lot more productive. I'm willing to bet that you beat yourself up enough about other things. You don't need to do it here. Judgment-free zone. Okay, right. So back to the indulgences. That's why it's really important, especially with the indulgences. Um, we're none of us are perfect, and we're all perfect at the same time in what we do, right? And so it's just important that we give a nod to our indulgences without shame, judgment, or guilt, no criticism, and move on. And just again, it's all about the awareness. Just that awareness will help you make better decisions when it's time, right? Okay. Exercise, write that in here. Stress level, write that in here. That can be a number code um, on a scale of 1 to 10. I've seen people use like colored pencils or magic markers, and you could tell I'm a child of the '70s. Who says magic marker anymore? Um, and they'll like fill this box in with red when they're angry, and blue when they're peaceful, and yellow when they're happy. You get the picture. Again, the more imagery and color you use, the easier it is to make a like quick assessment of what your day was like, right? And then medication down here. So if you are on any medication or, supplements, vitamins, write that in so that you can keep track. That will often play a big part in your mental, spiritual, and emotional health. Okay, moving on. So down here, this can be used in several ways. In the first couple of editions of the journal, I had the word food diary written here, and then I had the words notes and curiosities written here. I personally think it's really important to track your food. Um, we are what we eat. It is important that we eat healthy, nutritious food and that we eat it every day. um, Unless you're fasting, and then that's important to keep track of as well. Um, I had a lot of people say I need more room. I don't really need to. I've got an app that does my food, whatever. I like to write my dreams and I need more space. So anyway, what I ended up doing was making even more room down here, right? Took out those words. Um, do what you need to here. If this needs to be your a space for extended intentions where you've got so many intentions and so many things you're grateful for that you need to use this space. Awesome. Dream diary. Awesome. To-do list. Great. Reminders. If you want to use this for your scheduling, do it. Um, the whole idea is to make this really easy and uh, um, tailor this to your personal needs and requirements. And that way you will use it more, right? Okay, so I think that's a pretty good, like pretty quick snapshot of the day. Um, this is extra space, so use that if you need to. If you want to put like a Wednesday, or I've got Monday here. Um, Fill that space in as you need. Um, okay, so again, I wanted to show you this. If you're using the journal right now, you are using this journal. So it is a beautiful blue, July to December 2018. So the new edition of the journal, since we are hitting the 5-year mark, we have just actually completed 5 years in business. I wanted to give the journal a little bit more of a distinguished look, and I hope that you can see the difference here. This is a gray color. And it's the January to June 2019 journal. So this is available now on my website, hmslogbook.com. The journals are also always available on Amazon. I self-publish through CreateSpace, which was purchased by Amazon. So everything that they self-publish is going to show up on Amazon and is always available. So if that is an easier solution for you to get it in your hands, I say go for it. I do appreciate every purchase that comes through my website, though. That makes a big difference for my bottom line. So I will just say thank you to all those who are going straight to my website. I know Amazon is quick and easy, and I really, really appreciate you supporting me directly. So thank you. Okay, so there's lots more to talk about with the journal, and I will. I know this has been a long video, but there's a lot in it, and there's a lot to talk about. I also just want to give you this really wonderful sneak peek. So one of the upgrades to this journal is with the new moon intentions. I have added 2 pages to write your new moon intentions. So you will find those. Let's see. Where are we? Hold on. Oh, okay. All right. So January 5th is the new moon. And so right before the new moon, you will see your new moon intention pages. And what's really, really wonderful and I'm super excited about is that now this will give you, I can't see. Yes. the time that the new moon is exact. So there will be another separate video on the new moon intentions. And then I think you may have noticed here, this is the HMS energy wheel. This is a really, really wonderful exercise for getting to better understand and have more awareness of your energy output. So this is just a really fun exercise that you can do every month. And it is in preparation for your new moon intentions. So this is another workshop that I do here in Charleston, South Carolina, new moon intention setting. And we work with the HMS energy wheel in preparation for writing the new moon intention. So that look for that in a separate video. And let's see, I'm sure there's more to talk about the journal that I will think of, but I think that's a pretty good overview. Thank you again for subscribing. Thank you again for watching this video. I do appreciate it. And thank you so much for commenting. I love reading comments, and I love hearing what you think if you've been using the journal. I'd love to hear about how it has helped you gain more clarity in your world. And so yeah, thank you. If you're on the fence about whether the journal will work for you, I would invite you to go check out all the journals. There are 8 right now that are on Amazon, and there are some really wonderful reviews there. Over the past 5 years, I've accumulated quite a lot. So if you need to hear from somebody else how it has helped them, I invite you to go there. I'm also on Instagram. I'm a lot more active on Instagram than any other platform. So in my stories and in the on my homepage of Instagram, you'll see a lot of chatter about the journal. And so you can go there to find out some more information about it too. Definitely follow me on Instagram if you are local to Charleston and are interested in the workshops. I post about those quite a lot. And just so you know, if you are in Charleston, December 4th will be the next new moon gathering. It'll be at a private home in James Island. Couches, y'all. Such a game changer. No more sitting on a yoga mat or a cushion for 2 hours while your back is screaming at you. I've decided no more of that. I couldn't watch it. So yeah, I've decided to make my workshops a little smaller and more intimate and way, way, way more comfortable. So please join me. That's an Eventbrite event, so you can find it there. New Moon Gathering is what it's called in Charleston, South Carolina. Please join us for that for sure. And again, thanks so much. I appreciate your precious time, and be well. Thank you.